Have you ever wondered why, no matter how much criticism rains down from every corner of the world, America never lets go of Israel's hand? It's a question that's puzzled millions, sparked endless debates, and fueled countless conspiracy theories. On the surface, it might look like just another political alliance, but the truth is far more tangled on, far more fascinating than most people realize. This isn't just about two countries signing treaties or shaking hands at the United Nations. It's a story that stretches back thousands of years, woven through ancient rivalries, secret deals, and beliefs that have shaped the destinies of entire civilizations. Think about it. While other nations have seen their alliances shift with the winds of politics, the bond between the United States and Israel seems almost unbreakable. Even when global outrage reaches a boiling point, even when America's own interests are questioned, that support never wavers. Why? Is it about shared values, or is there something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface that most people never see? Some say it's all about religion, that powerful groups in America believe their fate is tied to the land of Israel. Others point to money, influence, and the shadowy networks that have shaped world events from behind closed doors. And then there are those who believe it's a mix of history, prophecy, and cold, hard strategy, a combination so potent that it's become almost impossible to untangle. But to truly understand why America stands by Israel, you have to go back to the very beginning, before the headlines, before the wars, before the world even knew what Israel meant, because the roots of this alliance are buried deep in the past, in stories of betrayal, survival, and ambition that most people have never heard. And once you see how it all began, you'll never look at this relationship the same way again. It all begins in the era of the Roman Empire, when Palestine was under Roman rule and the Jewish people were treated as little more than slaves. Jewish scholars waited for their Messiah, but when Jesus arrived, he challenged the authority of these scholars, criticizing their ways and calling for reform. Feeling threatened, the Jewish scholars conspired with the Romans to have Jesus punished. Although Jesus survived their plots, a devastating war soon erupted between the Romans and the Jews. The Romans crushed the Jewish revolt, destroyed their holiest temple, and expelled the Jews from Palestine, scattering them across the world. For centuries, the dream of returning to their homeland remained alive in Jewish hearts, passed down through generations. 500 years later, the rise of Islam changed everything. Under Caliph Umar, Muslims conquered Palestine and allowed Jews to return. For the next 4 centuries, Jews and Muslims lived as friends, while Christians remained their common adversaries. But the arrival of the Crusaders shattered this peace. Christian armies not only targeted Muslims but also unleashed brutal violence on Jews, burning synagogues and killing thousands. When Salahuddin Ayyubi united the Muslims and reclaimed Jerusalem, Jewish scholars stood by his side. Under Muslim rule, Jews found respect and safety, while keeping their distance from Christians. A golden age dawned for Jews in Muslim Spain, known as Al. Here, Jewish scholars, doctors, and traders thrived, contributing to a vibrant culture of learning and tolerance. But this era ended when Christian kingdoms reconquered Spain, expelling both Muslims and Jews. The Ottoman Sultan Bayezid II welcomed these refugees, offering them a new home. Yet, as Jews migrated to Europe, they faced new restrictions, banned from owning land or joining politics. They turned to business and finance. This shift would set the stage for a new chapter in Jewish history. In Europe, Jews were pushed into money lending and trade, as Christians were forbidden from charging interest. Over generations, Jewish families became the bankers of Europe, lending to kings and merchants alike. The Rothschild family rose to legendary status, building an international banking empire that funded wars and shaped the fate of nations. Their financial power brought both influence and suspicion, as old prejudices resurfaced. Despite expulsions and persecution, Jewish resilience and networking allowed them to survive and even thrive, laying the groundwork for their future ambitions. By the 19th century, the dream of returning to Zion took on new urgency. Theodor Herzl and other Zionist leaders argued that Jews needed their own nation. With financial backing from families like the Rothschilds, Jews began buying land in Palestine, often at high prices. Local Arab communities grew uneasy, but the Zionist movement pressed on. The British Balfour Declaration promised support for a Jewish homeland, and American evangelical Christians saw the return to Zion as a fulfillment of prophecy. The stage was set for a dramatic transformation. America's bond with Israel is rooted in religion, politics, and strategy. Evangelical Christians believe Israel's existence is part of biblical prophecy. The American Jewish community wields significant political and financial influence. After World War II and the horrors of the Holocaust, pressure mounted on the U.S. to support a Jewish state. President Truman recognized Israel just 11 minutes after its declaration. During the Cold War, Israel became a key U.S. ally, and American support military, economic, and diplomatic grew stronger with every crisis. After Israel's independence in 1948, 5 Arab nations attacked, but Israel not only survived, it expanded its territory. Over 700,000 Palestinians became refugees, and Israel absorbed waves of Jewish immigrants, building a modern society and military. Every few years, new wars and controversies erupted, but American support never wavered. From the Suez Crisis to the Six-Day War and beyond, the U.S. stood by Israel, cementing a partnership that would shape the region for decades. Each war left the region more unstable. Palestinian refugees lived in camps, while Israel fortified its security with American aid and technology. In Congress, support for Israel remained bipartisan, and the pro-Israel lobby maintained its influence in Washington. Critics pointed to settlements, occupation, and human rights issues, but strategic and emotional factors kept the bonds strong. As new threats emerged around terrorism and shifting alliances, the U.S.-Israel partnership adapted, always grounded in a sense of shared destiny and survival. So what's the real reason behind this alliance? It's not just politics or military interests. It's a story of faith, fear, and survival. For America, Israel is a symbol of resilience, democracy, and prophecy. Evangelical Christians see the relationship as part of religious destiny. Jewish Americans have built cultural, business, and political bridges. But above all, both nations share a mutual sense of vulnerability and the instinct to survive. Each sees the other as a guarantee of security in a hostile world. This bond has been tested time and again, but it always emerges stronger as new challenges arise and the world changes. The question remains, will this alliance remain as strong in the future? Or will new leaders, new interests, and new realities reshape the relationship? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the story is far from over.